Evelyn had been married to Ethan Hawthorne for 8 years, and in all 8 of those years, she had done one thing she was ashamed to admit, even to herself. She watched his ex. Not openly, not with the clumsy jealousy of a new bride. She watched the way someone watches a slow leak in the wall, quietly, habitually, as if the smallest detail might explain why a home could feel so cold even when it was furnished with everything money could buy. Vivian Lane's social feed was always immaculate. Clean lighting, soft smiles, the kind of captions that sounded like poetry and cut like glass if you knew where to look. That night, the newest post stopped Evelyn's breathing. It was a screenshot of a legal document, a will, and there, in stark, formal text that didn't care about anybody's heart, was a line that left her hands numb. After my death, all assets under my name will be inherited by Miss Vivian Lane. Evelyn stared until the words blurred, then sharpened again like a knife. A second later, her phone slipped in her palm, not because she was weak, but because her body couldn't decide whether to shake or go still. She didn't cry. Not yet. She set the phone down, rinsed her face, and wrapped Ethan's favourite food in lotus leaves the way she always did, because her hands knew the routine even when her mind didn't want to live inside it anymore. By the time she reached Sterling and Co. law offices, the night air had turned sharp and metallic. She stood outside Ethan's office door, the warm parcel in her arms like a ridiculous offering to a marriage that had never asked what she needed. Voices seeped through the door. Ethan, his closest friend Ryan Carter, was saying, half teasing, half baffled, "You wrote your will that early and left everything to Vivian. What about your wife?" Evelyn's heartbeat hit her ribs once, hard. Then Ethan's voice came, calm as winter. "My wife has our son to lean on," he said. "Vivian never married. I want her to have something to lean on after I'm gone." Evelyn's fingers tightened around the parcel. Ryan laughed in disbelief. "And if Evelyn finds out and loses it?" Ethan didn't even hesitate. "She won't," he said. "My wife is gentle. 8 years and we've never fought. She won't be angry." Ryan's tone sharpened. "Then why not divorce her and marry Vivian? Your career's stable now. You have a kid. What's wrong with chasing your own happiness?" A pause. Evelyn held her breath without meaning to. Ethan exhaled like a man choosing words that cost him nothing. "Vivian is for love," he said at last. "Not for marriage. And when I'm old, I still want my wife beside me. Gentle, useful, beside him. Not adored. Not chosen. Just there." Evelyn lowered her eyes. Because that was what she did. That was what everyone expected. She didn't burst through the door. She didn't scream his name and demand explanations like women in dramas did. She only turned slightly, walked to the trash bin beside the corridor plant, and dropped the lotus-wrapped ribs into it. The soft thud sounded louder than it should have. Then she walked away. Outside, the city lights shimmered as if everything was normal, as if she hadn't just watched her marriage get reduced to a function. She flagged a taxi and slid into the back seat. She handed the driver a thick stack of bills. "Anywhere," she said, voice flat. "Just not home." The car moved. Streetlights streaked across the glass. The world retreated, and inside her, something heavy settled like a stone that had finally decided to stop floating. Her marriage to Ethan had been a business arrangement, a contract wrapped in silk. She'd known that much. What she hadn't known until after the wedding was that his heart had already been occupied for 5 years by a woman he called unforgettable. Vivian Lane. Evelyn learned the story in fragments. The way you learn a storm is coming by the pressure in the air. Vivian was poor, a father who drank, a mother who remarried and disappeared. Ethan's mother had looked at Vivian and decided she was unfit, The way aristocrats decide a chair doesn't match the room. Worse than poverty, though, was the illness. Vivian had hereditary hemolytic anemia. Ethan's mother called it a curse, a threat to the bloodline. She did everything a powerful woman could do to destroy a love she didn't approve of. Threats, public humiliation, even a kneeling visit to Vivian herself, forcing her to leave. And still, Ethan had fought for Vivian. Until one day, Vivian left anyway. No one knew why. Then Ethan's parents arranged a marriage to Evelyn, and Evelyn, raised to be obedient, refined, and useful, stepped into the role like a woman slipping into a tailored dress that didn't belong to her. She became the perfect daughter-in-law, the perfect wife, the perfect mother. She never interfered with his private life, never challenged his temper, never protested when her mother-in-law treated her like staff. She raised their son, Noah, so thoroughly Ethan didn't have to worry about anything inside the home. Evelyn had believed that quiet competence would buy respect, but respect doesn't grow in a room where someone is already convinced you are replaceable. She returned to Harbour Bay Estate at 9 p.m. The sky fully black, the house lights glowing like a staged photograph. Inside, Ethan sat at the study desk with Noah, helping with homework. Brows furrowed the way men furrow their brows when they want you to believe they're carrying the family. He didn't look up. "Why didn't you answer when I called this afternoon?" Ethan said. Noah got out of school at 4. He waited 2 hours. Noah's face was a smaller copy of his father's seriousness. He stared at her like she was an employee who'd missed a shift. "Mum," he said, sharp and righteous. "You're home every day. How could you forget to pick me up?" Normally, this would have crushed her into apologies, but an image flickered through her mind like a cruel joke. Noah at an amusement park, grinning up at Vivian, calling her godmother with a sweetness he never used on Evelyn anymore. Evelyn set her purse down slowly. Her voice came out calm, almost bored. "I'm going back to work," she said. "From now on, the chauffeur can pick you up." Noah blinked. Ethan finally looked up, irritation flickering into surprise. "Work?" he repeated, as if the word didn't fit her. Evelyn's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Noah's older. I want a life of my own." Then she walked past them without another explanation, as if their confusion was not her responsibility to soothe. In her room, she opened the bottom drawer of her nightstand and pulled out a small notebook. Dust puffed softly when she cracked it open. 5 wishes, written in younger handwriting, before marriage. She stared at the first one like it belonged to a stranger. Drink a milk tea. Eat hot pot. Something so small it was almost embarrassing. But her life had been designed around looking proper. A disciplined upbringing, a polished image, always the elegant daughter, then the elegant wife, then the standard mother. So she had never done it. Evelyn closed the notebook, stood, changed into clothes she actually liked, and walked out of the house. That night she sat alone in the nearest hot pot restaurant, ordered the spiciest broth, and added a milk tea like a daring act of rebellion. It was delicious. It was also terrifying how long it had taken. Her phone rang mid-bite. She glanced at the screen, expecting Ethan. It was her own alarm. 10 p.m. Warm Noah's milk. Check homework. Evelyn stared at it for 2 seconds, then turned it off, and deleted every alarm she had ever set for them. When she stepped outside at 1 a.m., the street was empty, the wind oddly sweet against her face, as if the city itself was whispering, "You are still alive." She wandered until dawn bled grey into the sky, then returned home. Ethan and Noah were already awake. Ethan's eyes slid over her like she was a scheduled disruption. "Were you at my mother's house last night?" he asked, calm, automatic. because his mother had a habit of calling Evelyn in the middle of the night to help, and Ethan had never cared enough to stop it. Evelyn nodded once. She didn't explain that she'd been out living like a person. Noah stormed toward her immediately. "Mom! Before you went, you forgot to make breakfast." Ethan and Noah were picky eaters. Evelyn had studied recipes under famous chefs, so she could satisfy them the way you satisfy clients. Now she met her son's eyes steadily. "I didn't forget," she said. "I just didn't want to do it." Noah's mouth fell open. Ethan didn't react much. He handed Noah a piece of toast. Noah took one bite and grimaced. "It's gross. I'm not eating." Evelyn didn't rush in, didn't coax, didn't reshape the world around his appetite. She warmed a glass of milk for herself and drank it slowly, watching them flounder in the silence she used to fill. Ethan's voice cut through. "School event at 9. Parents and child. Don't forget." Evelyn's fingers tightened around the glass. "I told you yesterday," she said, cool and clear. "I'm going back to work." Ethan's gaze sharpened, as if he was seeing her for the first time in years. Before he could speak, Noah muttered, "Dad, can I ask Godmother to go with me instead?" Ethan's eyes flicked away from Evelyn. "Fine," he said quietly. "But don't let your mum know." He said it as if Evelyn was the enemy to be managed, as if she didn't live in the same house, as if she didn't already know. Evelyn kept eating her toast and drinking her milk like a woman watching a play she no longer believed in. After the chauffeur took Noah to school, Ethan finally walked over. "What's going on with you lately?" he asked, his tone almost gentle, like a man trying to fix a malfunctioning appliance. Evelyn lifted her gaze. "There's something I want to ask," she said. Ethan nodded, wary. "If the woman you married had been Vivian," Evelyn asked softly, "would you have made her stay home and serve you and raise your child alone?" Ethan's mouth pressed into a thin line. He didn't answer. Evelyn smiled, small and bitter, lashes lowering to hide the crack in her eyes. That was enough. Later that day, she slept until noon, something she'd never allowed herself to do before. When she woke, she decided to fulfill her second wish. Cut her hair. Wear what she wanted. Put on makeup without asking permission from an invisible set of rules. At the salon, the stylist blinked at her. "Your hair is so long and beautiful. Are you sure you want to cut it?" Evelyn stared at her reflection and said, "Because I don't like it." The stylist frowned, confused. "Then why did you keep it long?" Evelyn's smile sharpened. "Because it made other people comfortable." She leaned forward slightly, voice steady. "But if something makes me happy, there's nothing to regret." Strands of carefully maintained hair fell to the floor. With each cut, she felt something inside her loosen, like a chain unhooking from her spine. 2 hours later, she had chestnut-coloured hair that brushed her ears. She looked awake. Then she went to a clothing store. No more monochrome, socialite uniforms. She chose a rose-pink dress and let the sales associate touch up her makeup. When she walked outside, her steps felt different, like she was walking as herself. She was heading home when she saw them. Ethan, Noah, and Vivian. The three of them walked together, hands linked, like a family that didn't need Evelyn's presence to look complete. Evelyn's instincts screamed at her to turn away, to hide, to become invisible again. But she moved too late. They passed her. Noah's bright voice floated back, unfiltered by shame. "Godmother, I was so good at school today. Can I have another ice cream?" Evelyn froze. It took a second for her mind to catch up to what her heart already knew. Ethan hadn't recognized her. Or maybe he had, and she simply didn't matter enough for him to react. Ethan walked on. A moment later, He turned his head back, as if some part of him sensed a familiar absence. He stared at Evelyn's back for a beat. Then he looked away and kept going. In the glass of a storefront, Evelyn watched the reflection of 3 figures shrinking into the distance. She remembered a line she'd once read. Without spiritual connection, marriage is 2 strangers living under one roof, each lonely. Ethan had never been lonely, only her. That night she opened her notebook again and stared at the 3rd wish. Buy back my motorcycle. Ride again. She called her best friend. Annie. Are you free? Evelyn asked, voice low. Come with me, to get my bike back. Annie didn't hesitate. I'm on my way. An hour later, Annie brought her to a garage. In the centre sat a red motorcycle, polished like a heartbeat. Evelyn's eyes burned. Annie smiled, understanding too sharp to be kind. I knew one day you'd want it back, she said. So I kept it for you. Evelyn hugged her like someone drowning. Thank you, she whispered, throat tight. That night the motorcycle tore through the wind, and Evelyn felt it. Not freedom as a concept. Freedom as a physical thing in her lungs. She came home at 2 a.m. Ethan and Noah were gone. The housekeeper, startled by her clothes, recovered quickly. Sir took young master to the old manor, she said carefully. He said they won't be back for a few days. Evelyn nodded, as if she'd expected it. Ethan's usual punishment was silence. Withdrawal. Taking Noah away so Evelyn would crawl back and apologize. But this time, she didn't follow. A family should understand each other, not demand one person bend forever until she breaks. The next week, Evelyn lived. In the daytime, she shopped with Annie. She began reclaiming the company her late mother had left her, stepping into boardrooms that smelled like power and old decisions. At night, she rode the motorcycle along the mountain ring road, the city below glittering like a world she was finally allowed to touch. Ethan didn't return. Noah didn't message. Their life, without her, seemed cheerful. In the family group chat, Noah posted photos and videos. Dad took me to Universal Studios. So fun. Dad said if food is good, you share it with the person you love most. So I brought Grandma cheesecake yogurt. Then a photo of 3 shadows on the ground. 2 tall, 1 small. Relatives commented, family outing. You 3 look so happy, Noah replied. Not with Mom. Evelyn stared at the screen and felt something inside her grow quiet. She unpinned the chat, removed Noah from special notifications. She stopped being the first to like, the first to reply, the fastest comfort in every conversation. She had loved him. She still did, but she wasn't going to bleed herself dry to be treated like furniture. Then, for the first time in an 8-year Cold War, Ethan texted her first. Tomorrow we're going to the old manor. Bring Noah's favourite Gundam robot. The message was polite, distant, like she was staff. Evelyn didn't reply. She turned off her phone, slept deeply, then went the next morning anyway, because she wanted to see something with her own eyes. At the old manor, guests were already gathered. Ethan's mother was strict about family meals, especially in seasonal transitions. Evelyn had attended every single one for 8 years. As she stepped inside, conversations died. Ethan's gaze snapped to her, and for the first time, shock cracked his composure, because the woman who had never worn makeup had lipstick now, colour in her cheeks, hair cut short, dyed warm, and a bold, hibiscus red dress that refused to blend into the wallpaper. Ethan's mother set her teacup down like a judge lowering a gavel. What are you wearing? She demanded, loud enough for everyone to hear. Go change. Come back properly. In the past, Evelyn would have nodded and obeyed. Now she lifted her chin. Mom. she said evenly. How I dress is my freedom. I'm not changing. A stunned silence. Ethan finally spoke, voice tight. Evelyn, apologize. Noah stepped forward too, little face stern like he'd practiced it. Mom, he said, hurt and angry. Evelyn looked at them, one tall, and felt only a bitter, aching irony. This was her husband. This was her son. In front of everyone, she met Ethan's eyes. I'm not wrong, she said. So I won't apologize. Then she looked down at Noah. It's okay if you don't like me, she said softly, but I like who I am now. And she walked out of the Hawthorne Manor without looking back. On the drive home, she opened her notebook again. Wish number 4. Find someone who truly loves me. A memory surfaced, sharp as a flash. Years ago, at Ethan's mother's birthday, Ethan had brought Vivian to meet the family. His mother ordered a servant to pour Vivian the bitterest coffee. Vivian only frowned after one sip. Ethan's mother smiled coldly. Not used to it, are you? Different classes touch different things. You two don't match. Ethan had exploded. He'd dragged Vivian out of the party without caring whose face he embarrassed. Even when his mother later threatened death to force their breakup, Ethan had always stood on Vivian's side. But he had never once stood on Evelyn's. Not once. Evelyn pulled out her phone and called someone she hadn't spoken to in years. It rang a long time before a deep voice answered. Evelyn? Julian Foster, she said, and her own voice surprised her with how steady it was. I want to ask you something. Do you have a girlfriend? Are you married? Silence stretched. Then, quietly, he said, Never. Evelyn's heart tightened. Then, would you mind coming back to me? She asked. Let's try again. Just once. Julian's answer came fast. And your husband and son? Outside the window, rain began to slide down the glass. Evelyn watched the droplets, like they were years dissolving. They already have someone they love, she said softly. I'm not important anymore. I'm in Los Angeles, Julian said. I have business to finish. I'll be back in 3 days. Then the line went dead. Evelyn stared at the familiar number, breath caught in her throat. Julian had been her childhood friend, her first love. Years ago, when his family fell from wealth, her father had forced the breakup like tearing a page out of a book. After Evelyn married Ethan, she'd cut off contact completely. 5 years, same city, and they'd never crossed paths. When she arrived back at Harbour Bay Estate, she saw a woman waiting by the gate. Ivory designer dress, thin frame, a fragile paleness that looked almost deliberate. Evelyn recognized her instantly. Vivian Lane. Vivian turned, eyes glimmering with something that tried to look like sadness and might have been triumph. Hello, Vivian said gently. Mrs. Hawthorne. Evelyn didn't move. Why are you here? Vivian smiled faintly, as if she were performing kindness. I think you already know who I am, she said, so I won't introduce myself. Evelyn's voice stayed flat. What do you want? Vivian's gaze softened like a practiced gesture. I saw you and Ethan. So happy. You have a lovely son. I truly envy you. She took a step closer. I came to ask you to take good care of him. Evelyn frowned. Is that all? Vivian's voice turned almost wistful. Ethan is a good man. Responsible. He once told me he wanted to spend his life with me, grow old with me. She lowered her eyes, delicate and tragic. But my health isn't good. I'm not worthy of him. I can't stay by his side forever. She looked up again, and her smile sharpened under the sweetness. That wish, only you can fulfill for me. Before Evelyn could answer, a car pulled up. Ethan's. Vivian glanced over, then back at Evelyn. "I know you've been watching me for 8 years," she said softly. "I came this time so you can rest easy. I won't fight you for Ethan." Then she turned and walked away. Evelyn watched Ethan jump out of the car with a speed he never used for his own wife. He hurried to the gate, eyes tracking Vivian's retreating figure, tension flashing across his face before he forced it away. Then he turned to Evelyn, voice carefully casual. "Who were you talking to?" Evelyn smiled. "Someone asking directions." Ethan's relief was immediate, visible, almost insulting in its clarity. Noah climbed out next, pointing after Vivian. "Dad, it's like Godmother." Ethan cut him off sharply. "Noah, did you forget our promise?" Noah slapped a hand over his mouth. "Oh, right. Our secret," he said quickly, eyes darting to Evelyn. "We can't tell, Mum." Evelyn repeated the word in her mind. Secret. As if she didn't already know. As if she hadn't been surviving in the shadow of it for years. She walked inside without a question, without a fight, without tears. Ethan and Noah stared after her, confused by her calm. That night, Ethan came into her room. He sat on the edge of the bed like a man delivering a speech he'd rehearsed. "Let's talk," he said. "I know you've worked hard for this family. For me. For Noah. I see it." Evelyn didn't respond. Ethan continued, voice softening. "Even though our marriage was arranged, I still hope we can live peacefully until the end. I hope the person beside me, at the end, is you." And there it was again. The same sentence. The same cruelty dressed as reassurance. "Vivian is for love. My wife is for marriage." Evelyn lifted her gaze. 8 years, she said quietly. "I never asked you for anything." Ethan's brow furrowed. "What do you want?" Evelyn's voice was steady enough to scare even her. "Stop following Vivian," she said. "Stop watching her in secret." Ethan froze. Not because he was guilty. Because he was offended, she knew. The room thickened with silence. Then Ethan spoke, slow and firm. "I can promise you other things," he said. "But not this." In that instant, Evelyn saw him clearly. She had been a test to him. A role. A convenience. And he wouldn't even lie to keep her. Not even once. That night, Ethan stayed in the bed, but they lay on opposite sides. A clean strip of emptiness between them, like a border neither could cross. In the morning, he was gone. Evelyn's phone buzzed. A private message. From Vivian. A video played. Vivian, Ethan, and Noah in matching outfits, smiling for a family portrait like a dream that didn't include Evelyn at all. Text overlaid the video. "The dream I once had finally came true. You, me, and our child. A family of 3. So happy. So happy." Evelyn didn't finish watching. She blocked Vivian. Deleted her. Then she spent the morning tearing through her closet, throwing out every beige, obedient uniform she'd worn to make the world approve of her. In the afternoon, she went to the registry office. She handed over the prepared documents. "I want to change my name," she said. The clerk blinked, then asked the formal question. "If you change your name, your previous identity information will no longer be valid. You'll need to update your marital registration as well, or your old marriage certificate will be invalid." Evelyn nodded. "I understand. What name do you want?" Evelyn inhaled. "Evelyn Harlow," she said. She was abandoning her father's surname in the way a woman steps out of a cage and locks it behind her, taking her mother's name, the one that carried a different lesson. Her mother used to say, "In one life, the most important thing is that you can feel happiness in your own heart." 5 hours later, the update was complete. Evelyn walked out of the office into a sky so blue it looked unreal. She held her new documents tightly, as if they were proof she existed, as if she could finally begin again. From that moment on, there was no Mrs. Hawthorne living in Harbour Bay. There was only Evelyn Harlow, and she was no longer anyone's convenient wife. When Evelyn returned to Harbour Bay Estate, night had already swallowed the sky. The villa was too quiet. The kind of quiet that isn't peace, but absence pretending to be normal. Ethan and Noah still weren't home. She washed her face, changed into loose sleepwear, and lay down. 2 new messages, weighted like 2 different knives. One was from Ethan. Took Noah to the amusement park. He's exhausted. We checked into a nearby hotel. We're not coming back tonight. The other was a flight notification from Julian Foster. Arrival tomorrow, 1 p.m, Hongqiao Airport. Evelyn stared at the screen with a calm that surprised even her. She knew Ethan and Noah hadn't gone to any amusement park. They were with Vivian. They were always with Vivian when they thought Evelyn's eyes were somewhere else. But she didn't care anymore. She typed to Ethan, "Got it." Then she texted Julian, "Okay. I'll pick you up on time." After sending, she placed the phone face down, as if turning off a light in a room she no longer wanted to live in, and went to sleep. A real sleep, the kind she hadn't had in 8 years. She didn't wake until 10 the next morning. The villa was still quiet. Ethan and Noah still weren't home. Evelyn went downstairs and sat at the dining table, eating breakfast alone. The clink of utensils sounded too sharp in the empty space, like it was accusing her of enjoying anything without permission. Then the front door opened. Ethan walked in first, dressed in a crisp white athletic set. Noah followed in matching colours. A bear-shaped backpack on his shoulders. A sun hat tilted like he'd just returned from a fun day with someone who wasn't his mother. Ethan's gaze swept the living room and stopped. A suitcase sat by the couch. His voice was casual, almost polite. Almost normal. "You're going out?" Evelyn nodded. Noah hurried to her side. "Mom," he asked, eyes bright, "when are you coming back?" She opened her mouth to answer, but he didn't wait. "Can you stay gone?" "A little longer." Evelyn's fingers tightened around her chopsticks. She understood immediately. He wanted her gone long enough that he and his father wouldn't have to invent excuses to see Vivian. Long enough that their secret could breathe. Evelyn looked at her son and felt something in her chest turn cold and clean. Like ice, finally forming. "Sure," she said. Ethan's expression shifted, a flicker of discomfort, like he'd finally realised his son had said the quiet part out loud. He pulled Noah away with a forced briskness. "Didn't you come back to grab your toy?" Ethan said. "Go. Now." Noah ran off to the playroom. Ethan stayed behind. He watched Evelyn with the careful look of a man trying to smooth a wrinkle before it becomes a tear. "Don't overthink it," he said. "Noah just means you haven't gone out in a while. He wants you to relax." Evelyn hummed softly. She didn't argue. She didn't expose him. She didn't give him the satisfaction of conflict. For a moment, the dining room fell into a hollow silence, filled only by the small, polite noise of Evelyn eating. Noah came running down with a toy clutched to his chest. "Dad, let's go." Ethan stood, adjusted Noah's collar like he was buttoning a perfect image into place, then nodded at Evelyn. "Say goodbye to your mother." Noah waved carelessly, the way kids wave at furniture that stays where it belongs. "Bye, Mum." Evelyn didn't respond, because in her mind, the words had already passed the point of meaning. She watched father and son leave. When their shadows disappeared, she set her chopsticks down, stood, and lifted her suitcase. On the dining table, she left a note, a simple sheet of paper, a quiet guillotine. "Money stays where it belongs. Love, stays where it belongs. Ethan Hawthorne. I know the name on your will isn't mine. It's Vivian Lane. I know you and Noah have been meeting her behind my back. I don't want to be Mrs. Hawthorne anymore. I want to go back to being myself. So I don't need you two anymore. Then she walked out without looking back and drove straight to the airport. At 1 p.m., a tall, sharp-featured man stepped out of the VIP corridor. 3 years of distance collapsed into one heartbeat. Evelyn's eyes turned red instantly. Julian Foster walked toward her like the world had always been leading him back to this exact point. You see me, and you look like you're about to cry, he said, trying to tease it away. What is this? Did someone bully you? Evelyn couldn't speak. Her throat closed like a fist. Julian pulled her into his arms. It's okay, he murmured against her hair. I'm here now. Evelyn clutched him hard, trembling. Julian. Her voice broke. Do you still want to be with me? His hand slid gently over her short chestnut hair, as if touching the proof that she had changed. If I didn't, he said quietly, I wouldn't have come back. Evelyn swallowed, breathing him in like medicine. I changed my name, she whispered. I changed everything. I'm not Evelyn Hawthorne anymore. Her lashes lowered, hiding the quake in her eyes. Take me away, she said. Far away. Forever. Julian didn't hesitate. Okay. 1 hour later, they were boarding a direct flight to Los Angeles. Evelyn sat beside him and opened her small wish list again. The one she'd kept buried, like a secret life. She checked the last wish. Let go once. Fully return to myself. As the plane lifted off, she closed her eyes and felt her chest finally expand, as if she'd been holding her breath for 8 years. Back in Shanghai, at the amusement park, Noah was tugging Vivian's sleeve, begging for ice cream, when he suddenly clutched his chest. His face twisted. A small, sharp cry escaped him. Vivian's colour drained. Noah, what's wrong? Noah went pale, his hand pressed tight over his heart. Ethan was mid-call. The moment he heard his son's sound, he cut the call and lunged toward him. Noah, talk to me. Noah's lips trembled. I don't know, he whispered. It just hurts here. Vivian's worry flashed openly now. We need the hospital. Now. Ethan scooped Noah up and ran, Vivian following in heels that suddenly looked ridiculous. In the car, Noah curled in Vivian's arms, still pale. Godmother, he whimpered. When I'm better, can we come back? I want to watch fireworks with you. Vivian's eyes softened, voice sweet with practiced devotion. My baby is so good, she cooed. But fireworks can wait. I just want you healthy. Then she turned toward Ethan. You've raised him so well, she said softly. He's so much like you were. Ethan glanced into the rearview mirror and met Vivian's gaze. Her eyes held a heat that made the air in the car feel smaller. His own eyes flickered. Then he said, almost reflexively, It's because my wife taught him well. I've been busy. She's the one who took care of him. Vivian's lashes dropped, hiding something sharp. Then, maybe call his mother, she suggested gently. When a child is uncomfortable, his mother should be beside him. Before Ethan could answer, Noah grabbed Vivian's hand. No, he insisted. I want Godmother with me. Vivian smiled. The curve of her lips too satisfied to be purely kind. Okay, she whispered. I'll stay. Ethan watched the scene and felt an odd irritation in his chest, sour and unfamiliar, like a taste he couldn't name. At the hospital, tests came back one by one. The doctor finally handed Ethan the report. He's completely healthy, the doctor said. No issues. Ethan exhaled, relief loosening his shoulders. Thank you. Noah. suddenly full of energy again, clung to Vivian, like she was the center of his world. "Godmother," he said brightly, "you said you like camping. Let's go tomorrow." Vivian nodded, laughing. "Sure." Then she pretended to hesitate. "But you should tell your mum, or she'll worry." Noah waved it off, confident and cruel in the way children can be when adults teach them it's safe. "No need," he said. "Mum's gone. She'll be gone a long time. I can stay with you forever," and never listen to her nagging again. The words were light. The damage wasn't. Ethan's face tightened. He lifted Noah into his arms. "Your godmother isn't in great health," he said, voice controlled. "Don't cling to her too much." Vivian waved her hand, playing modest. "It's fine," she murmured. "I like him. I'm happy he's close to me." Then, in a softer voice, like she was confessing pain, she added, "If we had married back then, our child would be as adorable as Noah." Ethan turned his head away. He didn't answer the sentence. But he didn't shut it down either. "Since my wife isn't home lately," he said after a pause, "I'll bring Noah to see you more. I'll take you back now. And tomorrow morning I'll pick you up for camping." He drove Vivian home first. Only then did he take Noah back to Harbour Bay. The moment Ethan stepped into the villa, something hollow opened inside him. An emptiness he couldn't explain, as if he'd walked into a house that had always been held together by someone else's hands. Noah tugged his sleeve suddenly. "Dad," he whispered, pressing his chest again. "It hurts again." Ethan's heart jumped. Noah's eyes filled with tears. "I miss Mum. I want to call her." It was the first time Noah had said those words since starting elementary school. Ethan sat down quickly, pulling Noah onto the couch, and dialed Evelyn's number. The call connected. Then a cold female operator voice filled the line. "Sorry. The number you have dialed does not exist." Ethan froze. Noah blinked, confused. "Dad, you dialed wrong?" Ethan looked at his contacts. Evelyn Hawthorne. He dialed again. Same message. Again. Same message. A slow, unfamiliar panic slid under Ethan's skin. He set the phone down and called the housekeeper. "Before my wife left," he asked, voice flat. "Did she say where she was going?" The housekeeper hesitated, then reached into her pocket and pulled out a piece of paper. "She didn't say," the housekeeper murmured. "But she left this on the dining table." Ethan took it. His eyes moved over the words. His face turned cold. Not guilty. Not ashamed. Just suddenly aware. Now he understood why she had changed. Noah leaned closer, reading over the adult handwriting, and his eyes widened. "Dad." His voice shook. "Mum doesn't want us anymore?" Ethan crushed the paper in his fist. "Impossible," he said quickly, throwing it aside like it was trash. "Your mum wouldn't leave us." He didn't know if he was comforting Noah or himself. "She's just upset. She's blowing off steam. She'll come back in a few days." His gaze drifted to the front door without meaning to, as if staring at the entrance could summon the person who used to appear there, carrying the weight of the home like it was her job to make it breathe. Noah sniffled, convinced by the certainty in Ethan's tone. "So, when is she coming back?" Ethan touched Noah's hair, voice firm. "Soon." Then Noah brightened, immediate and selfish, like children are allowed to be. "Then tomorrow can we still go camping with Godmother?" Ethan nodded. "Yes." Noah cheered. "Great. I'll sleep early tonight, so I can play with Godmother a lot before Mum comes back." He ran upstairs. Ethan remained on the couch, reopened his WeChat chat with Evelyn, and typed, "When are you coming back? I'll bring Noah to pick you up." The message sent successfully. Ethan exhaled, relieved. convincing himself of something he needed to believe. If she had deleted her phone number, but hadn't deleted him on WeChat, then she must be leaving him a way down, a way for him to coax her back. A staircase, a soft return. He went to bed thinking the note wasn't serious, thinking her anger was a tantrum, thinking she would always come back. Because she always had. At the same time, in Los Angeles, 11,800 kilometers away, Evelyn and Julian landed safely. As they stepped out of the airport, Julian's hand enclosed hers completely, steady and warm. Evelyn looked down at their interlocked fingers, and her chest finally felt quiet. Safe, like the old days, when love wasn't a duty, and she didn't have to shrink to deserve staying. Julian guided her to the car and handed her a new phone. "If you've decided to restart," he said, voice low and sure, "then forget the past." His eyes held hers. "Use your new identity. We start over. This time, you don't bend for anyone. You don't shrink for anyone." Evelyn's old phone was already gone, left behind like an abandoned skin. She held the new one, stared at the empty contacts, the clean slate, and squeezed Julian's hand. "Okay," she whispered. "We start over." And for the first time in years, she believed her own words. Back at Harbour Bay, the next morning, Ethan woke up and grabbed his phone. He opened WeChat. Work messages. Notifications. No reply from Evelyn. His message sat there, lonely and unanswered. Ethan's brows tightened. 8 years. Evelyn had never made him wait. Not once. Even if she was in the shower, she would dry her hands and reply. She had never let his messages sleep overnight. This time, his screen stayed silent. And in that silence, Ethan's irritation began to twist into something else. Something sharper. Something that didn't have a name yet, but felt like the first crack in a certainty he'd built his life on. He promised Noah camping today, so he forced himself to move. In the dressing room, he searched the closet, then sent another message. "Where's my grey tracksuit?" "I can't find it." 5 minutes. No answer. The annoyance rose in him like heat. He snatched a black set instead and went downstairs. Noah was already ready, backpack on, bouncing with excitement. "Dad, let's go!" Ethan grabbed his son's hand and paused to instruct the housekeeper. "If my wife comes back," he said, voice clipped, "call me immediately." "Yes, sir." He drove to pick up Vivian. They went to a Forest Creek campsite called Greendale. After setting up the tent, Noah jumped around, snapping photos, posting them in the family group chat. He waited. No heart from Mum. No comment. His face tightened. He threw his phone onto the grass and ran back, pouting. "Dad," he complained. "Why didn't Mum like my post?" Ethan's hands paused mid-setup. "She's busy," he said quickly. Noah half believed, half sulked, then ran off again, taking more photos like a child trying to catch attention with proof he existed. Vivian stepped closer. "Kin Hawaii," she said softly, using the old name like a key. "Did you fight with your wife?" Ethan's instinct was to deny it, but something in him didn't want to say the truth out loud, as if naming it would make it real. "No," he said. Vivian smiled faintly, the smile of someone who could read him anyway. "Women need to be coaxed," she said gently. "Back when we were together, no matter how big the fight was, if I even frowned a little, you'd come right away." Her voice dropped. "After we broke up, no one treated me like that again." Ethan didn't respond. He simply pulled out a chair for her. "Sit and rest. I'll call you when the barbecue's ready." Vivian shook her head, walked beside him. "I'm not that fragile," she said. "Don't treat me like I'll break. Let me help." They prepared the food together while laughter and chatter rippled across the campsite. Families everywhere. 1,000 small happinesses. Vivian watched Noah playing nearby, then glanced at Ethan. Her eyes glimmered. "Kin Hawaii," she murmured. "I feel so happy right now." She stepped closer. Voice sweet, dangerous. "I really want to live like this forever. You, me, and a child." Ethan's lips parted, as if he might speak. But Noah ran back. "Godmother, take a photo with me." Vivian beamed. "Okay." She pulled Ethan into the frame too. They took dozens of photos. Noah picked the best one, posted it, and set it to "Only Mum can see" before hitting publish. Ethan didn't notice the small betrayal. Vivian did. She noticed everything. Later, while they ate, a passerby walked past and admired them. "This family of 3 is gorgeous," the tourist said. "You look so happy." All 3 smiled. No one corrected the assumption. Vivian quietly posted a photo to her own feed, then screenshotted it. She sent it directly to Evelyn. Then she tucked her phone away and returned to the warmth like nothing had happened. At night, inside the tent, Noah opened his hidden post again. Still no reaction. No like. No comment. He couldn't even tell if his mother had seen it. Ethan stepped into the tent after washing up and noticed his son's sulky face. "What's wrong?" Noah shoved the phone at him. "You lied," he accused. "Mum didn't like it." Ethan's eyes flicked over the post. His jaw tightened. He deleted it immediately, then stared at Noah. Voice sharp. "Didn't I tell you? When we're with Godmother, we hide it from your mum." Noah's face crumpled. "I'm sorry," he whispered, then blurted, desperate. "I just wanted Mum to notice me." Ethan's throat tightened with a strange, unwelcome discomfort. He deleted all of Noah's posts from that day. "Don't do that again," he said. "Sleep. We watch sunrise and go back tomorrow." Noah crawled under the blanket. Before he fell asleep, he murmured, "Dad, when Mum comes back, take her camping too." Ethan didn't answer. Outside, insects sang. Inside, Ethan stared at his phone, reopened the chat with Evelyn, and found only silence. That night, he didn't sleep. The next days bled into a half-month. No news. No reply. Even her family couldn't find her. Ethan finally ordered his assistant to investigate. The report came back like a door slamming shut. She changed her name. Her old identity information was invalid. There is no trace. Ethan's face turned to ice. "Hire a private investigator," he said, voice lethal. "Whatever it takes. 3 days. I want her exact location." 2 days later, the assistant returned with a thick file. "Sir," he said carefully, "she changed her name to Evelyn Harlow. She's in Los Angeles." Ethan flipped the pages. Then he froze. A photo. Evelyn, standing beside a man. Julian Foster. Ethan's eyes darkened. "Book 2 tickets to Los Angeles for tomorrow," he ordered. "And pull Noah out of school." Noah was thrilled. He thought they were going to bring Mum home like retrieving a toy that had wandered too far. After landing in Los Angeles, Ethan didn't rest. He drove straight to a motorcycle racing facility. Crichton. The sound hit him first. Engines. Cheers. Heat. He walked in holding Noah's hand, scanning the crowd. A red motorcycle streaked across the finish line. The arena erupted. The rider lifted a hand in acknowledgement, then removed her helmet. Short chestnut hair. A pale, beautiful face. Evelyn. Noah ripped his hand free and bolted like a bullet. "Mom!" Heads turned. People stared. Noah ran toward the track, not seeing the black motorcycle still speeding in. In the moment his foot was about to cross onto the track, a man's arm caught him. Strong. Precise. He lifted Noah up effortlessly. The black motorcycle shot past a second later. a blur of death inches from where the boy would have been. Noah went stiff, shocked, silent, clinging to the man's shirt. Ethan's heart stopped, then restarted violently. He rushed over, yanked Noah into his own arms, and exhaled like he'd been underwater. "Thank you," he said to the man. Then he looked up, and his face changed instantly. Julian Foster, the first love Ethan had never bothered to take seriously. Until now. Evelyn walked over at the same time, helmet tucked under her arm. Noah, still trembling, reached for her instinctively, arms raised. "Mom." Evelyn only glanced at him once, cool and detached, then turned slightly toward Julian. "The race is over," she said. "Let's go home." Noah's eyes flooded. "Mom, why won't you look at me?" Ethan's voice turned sharp, anger covering fear. "Evelyn, do you see what just happened?" Noah almost got hit. Evelyn's gaze slid to Ethan as if he were a stranger trying to claim ownership of her name. "My name is Evelyn Harlow," she said calmly. "Not Evelyn Hawthorne. You've mistaken me for someone else." Then she took Julian's hand in front of them and started to walk away. Ethan stepped in fast, blocking their path. He wanted to shout, but Noah was in his arms, still shaking, and the words jammed in his throat. So he forced his tone into something almost reasonable. "Evelyn," he said, "Noah has missed you. I won't ask where you've been. He's scared. He needs his mother." He lifted Noah toward her. Noah reached out, sobbing. "Mum, I miss you." Tears rolled down his cheeks, big and hot. Evelyn's eyes flickered once. In her mind, Noah in Vivian's arms, calling her godmother, smiling like Evelyn didn't exist. Evelyn took a step back. Then she spoke slowly, each word clean, deliberate. "Ethan Hawthorne," she said. "You should take him to find his mother." She tilted her head slightly, voice almost gentle. "Evelyn Hawthorne. And if you can't find her," she added, eyes sharp now, "you can still take him to his godmother." The air changed. Ethan and Noah's faces shifted at the same time. They knew she'd found out about Vivian. They hadn't known she'd found out about the name he called Vivian. Noah whispered, frightened, "Dad, she knows our secret." Ethan tightened his hold on Noah. His voice lowered. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to hide it. It's not what you think. Come back to China first. I'll explain everything." Evelyn's mouth curved slightly. Not a smile. A verdict. "No," she said. "We have nothing to do with each other now. I don't need your explanation, and I don't want to hear it." She looked at him like a door that had already been closed. "Move." She pulled Julian's hand and walked past Ethan and Noah. Noah grabbed her wrist, desperate. "Mom!" he cried. "Why won't you comfort me?" Evelyn turned to face him. She gently peeled his fingers away one by one, like removing a vine. "Because I don't need you anymore," she said, calm as stone. Then she left, shoulder to shoulder with Julian, without looking back. Noah screamed after her, voice cracking. "You're bad, I hate you." He collapsed into Ethan's chest, sobbing so hard he couldn't breathe. Ethan watched Evelyn disappear, the red of her motorcycle gear vanishing into the crowd like a flame being carried away. He wanted to chase, but his son was shaking, breaking apart in his arms, and Ethan, who had never learned how to hold a child's pain, could only stand there, helpless, with his pride turning into something darker, something that finally, belatedly, felt like consequence. That night, back in the hotel, Noah cried until his eyes swelled. No matter what Ethan promised, no matter what Ethan said, nothing worked. Ethan had no experience. He had never had to. Evelyn had always done it. Then his phone rang. Vivian. Her voice was soft, sweet, instantly concerned. "Kin Hawaii, I heard you went to Los Angeles to find your wife." Did you find her? Ethan rubbed his forehead. Yes. We'll be back soon. Noah's sniffles leaked into the line. Vivian's tone sharpened with alarm. Is Noah crying? What happened? Ethan hesitated, then asked the question he'd never had to ask anyone before. Noah and his mother. We fought. Do you know how to calm him down? He won't stop crying. I'm afraid it'll affect his health. Vivian didn't miss a beat. Give him the phone, she said gently. Let me talk to him. Ethan handed the phone over. Noah sobbed into it. Godmother, why doesn't Mum want me anymore? Vivian's reply was too quiet for Ethan to hear clearly. But slowly, Noah's crying eased. His breathing steadied. By the time Noah returned the phone, he was wiping his face and walking to the bathroom. Ethan exhaled, grateful in spite of himself. Thank you, he told Vivian. Good thing you're here. Vivian's voice softened. I raised him with you, she said. Hearing him cry like that, it hurts me too. She paused, then spoke with gentle decisiveness. I booked the earliest flight to Los Angeles. When I arrive, I'll help you with Noah. And you, go comfort your wife. She's his real mother. How can she be that heartless? Ethan didn't refuse. He couldn't handle Noah alone. Vivian, thank you. Vivian laughed softly. Between us, why say thank you? She whispered. As long as you're happy, I'm happy. Sleep early, she added. Pick me up tomorrow. The call ended. Noah came out of the bathroom and looked up at Ethan with swollen eyes. Dad, he asked shakily. Is it because that man was there? That Mom didn't want me? Ethan's jaw tightened. Who told you that? Noah lowered his head. Auntie and Grandma talked before, he admitted. Auntie said when Mom dyed her hair and changed clothes, she changed her heart. She didn't want to be with you anymore. Dad. Is that true? Ethan's face went colder than the night. He'd ignored family gossip his whole life, but hearing it spill into his son's mind, twisting the world, made something in him harden. Then, unexpectedly, something else followed. A realization he couldn't escape. Evelyn had given everything. And he had done what, exactly? A will with Vivian's name. Secret meetings. A child taught to hide. A wife treated like air. If he were in her place, he wouldn't stay either. Noah tugged his sleeve, voice small. Dad, if we say sorry, will Mum forgive us? Ethan inhaled slowly, forcing his voice steady. She will, he said. If we recognize our mistakes and apologize, she will forgive us. Noah nodded hard, desperate to believe. Then we sleep early. Tomorrow we go find Mum and bring her home. Okay. When Noah finally fell asleep, Ethan stepped to the floor-to-ceiling window. Bought a new phone earlier that day, still heavy in his pocket. He dialed the new number his assistant had found for Evelyn Harlow. It rang for a long time. Then a man answered in English, cool and controlled. Hello? Who is this? Ethan's grip tightened. I want to speak to Evelyn Harlow. A pause. Then the man switched to Chinese. Voice even colder. She's asleep. Who are you? If you have something to say it to me. I'll pass it on. Ethan's calm cracked. I'm her legal husband, he said harshly. Julian Foster. There's nothing to talk about between you and me. Give her the phone. He had read the file on the plane, over and over. He had always known Evelyn once had a first love. He had never cared, because he believed she was too obedient to return to anything that belonged to her. Now that love had hands, and those hands had just saved his son. And Evelyn had chosen to leave with him anyway. Past chat. It was pride. The kind men pretended they didn't care about until it was the only thing left keeping their spine upright. Adrian Feng stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of his Los Angeles hotel suite, one hand clamped around a new phone, knuckles pale, jaw locked so hard it made his temples throb. On the other end, Julian Fu's voice was calm, almost amused. "Sorry," Julian said lightly, "but according to Evelyn's current personal information, the spouse field is blank, which means she's single." For a second, Adrian didn't breathe. He had sat across hostile judges and predatory opponents in conference rooms and courtrooms, and he'd never once lost the cold edge of control. But now something animal in him rose up, heat flooding his chest like a wildfire looking for oxygen. He wanted to drive straight across the city and put his fist through Julian Fu's perfect smile. Julian waited. Then, as if speaking to a client who'd forgotten his appointment, "Mr. Feng, if there's nothing else, I'll hang up." "Wait." Adrian's voice came out low, hoarse. "What are you and Evelyn now?" Julian chuckled. "What do you think?" "Whatever you had with her in the past," Adrian snapped. "That's what you have now." That lazy tone again, like Julian couldn't be bothered to argue with a man shouting in the rain. "Oh, is that so?" Adrian's restraint cracked, just slightly. "Julian Fu, I suggest you stay away from her. Evelyn is my wife. She's the mother of my son. She's just angry. When she calms down, she'll come back. We're a family. Don't think you can take advantage of the chaos." Julian's hum was soft, almost polite. "Understood. I'll pass your message along. Anything else, Mr. Feng?" It was like punching cotton. No resistance, no reaction, just a smooth surface that refused to bruise. Adrian gritted his teeth and repeated it, as if saying it twice could make it true. "Evelyn Nguyen is my wife. I don't share." He hung up hard, the silence afterward ringing louder than the city traffic below. And then, against his will, an image flashed through his mind. Evelyn that afternoon on the track, hair short and chestnut, helmet tucked under her arm, cheeks flushed with heat and adrenaline, alive. Brilliant, dangerous. He had never seen her like that. For 8 years, Evelyn, in his memory, was a perfect wife-shaped silhouette. Gentle voice, careful steps, long black hair, dresses chosen to match the expectations of the Feng family. She managed his mother. She managed the house. She managed their son's schedule and moods and fevers, like she was born to be the steady center of other people's gravity. People used to envy him. "You hit the jackpot," his friends would say. "A wife like that? You're lucky." Adrian would smile, faint and polite, and feel nothing. Sometimes worse than nothing boredom, a quiet irritation at how predictable she was. Because predictability felt like control, and control felt like safety. He never asked what Evelyn liked, never asked what she wanted, never asked who she was before she walked into his life and folded herself into a shape that wouldn't offend his world. He assumed she came that way, like furniture. Like a lamp that existed to light the room, not to be seen. By the time the first pale morning light spilled into the suite, Adrian realized he had been standing there all night. He showered with movements too sharp to be relaxed, dressed in silence, and woke his son. Leo stumbled out, hair a mess, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "Dad," Leo mumbled, "we're picking up Aunt Serena at the airport. Then we go find Mum, right?" Adrian's mouth tightened at the name, but he nodded. "Breakfast first. Then, the airport." Leo insisted on stopping at a flower shop. He chose white lilies, Serena's favourite. He held the bouquet like a trophy, proud of himself. "She likes these," he said, as if sharing an important secret. Adrian's chest pinched, sudden and sour. They all knew what Serena liked. No one knew what Evelyn liked. At Los Angeles International Airport, Serena G appeared an hour later, elegant even while pushing her luggage cart, scarf draped just so, hair perfect in the cruel airport lighting. Leo ran to her with a bright, relieved shout. "Aunt Serena!" Serena bent, hugged him, kissed his cheek. "Did you behave? Did you listen to your dad?" "Yes," Leo beamed, then thrust the lilies into her arms. Serena's eyes shimmered, her smile deepening. "Leo, thank you. You always remember what I love." She hugged him again, tight, like they were a real mother and child. Adrian watched the scene and felt something he couldn't name settle heavy behind his ribs. Serena noticed his expression and stepped closer. "Adrian, you're not happy to see me?" He forced a smile. "I didn't sleep well." Back at the hotel, he booked Serena a room next to his, helped her settle her bags, and said quietly, "Please watch Leo for me. I need to talk to Evelyn alone." Leo's face crumpled instantly. "No! I want to go with you." Serena looked surprised. "Why not bring him? If you're worried, I can come too. I'm a woman. I might be able to talk to your wife." Adrian shook his head. "No, I'll go." Leo clung to his leg, desperate. "Dad, please! I miss Mum." Adrian peeled him off with a firmness he usually saved for the courtroom. "Stop. Dad needs to say something important to Mum. After we talk, tomorrow I'll take you." Leo's sobs turned muffled in Serena's arms. Serena patted his back, soothing, then lifted her eyes to Adrian. "I'll take care of him," she said gently. And when Adrian finally left, Serena lowered her head to Leo's ear, voice sweet as honey. "We'll wait until your dad softens her first. Then when you show up, she won't ignore you." Leo sniffed. "Really? Have I ever lied to you?" He shook his head. Serena's smile curved, small and satisfied. Outside the city, on the long stretch of Highway 103, the air was thick with fuel and cheering. Motorcycles roared like beasts, tearing down the asphalt. Adrian stood at the roadside, stiff and out of place in a world that smelled of speed and freedom. Then he saw it, Evelyn's red and blue bike, unmistakable, slicing through the lane like a blade. When she finally stopped, she swung off the bike, pulled off her helmet, and the sun hit her short dyed hair like fire. She looked radiant. Not gentle, not obedient, radiant. A woman in a brown jacket sprinted up and threw her arms around Evelyn. "Ev!" the woman yelled, laughing. "Those laps were insane. This is you. This is the Evelyn I know." Evelyn leaned back against her bike, twirling her keys. "If you hadn't helped me rebuild it, I'd be dead from boredom." "Hey," the friend thumped her chest. "As long as you ride, I've got you." Adrian's gaze snagged on that effortless intimacy, two women who knew each other without explanation, without negotiation. He pushed through the crowd and stopped in front of Evelyn. "Evelyn," he said, voice clipped. "Can we talk?" Her smile died instantly. The friend turned, eyes sharp. "Why are you here?" Adrian frowned. "Who are you?" The friend's face darkened like a storm rolling in. "You don't even recognize me." Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "Adrian, you seriously don't know who she is?" He searched his memory, found nothing, and said the truth like it was nothing. "No." The friend let out a bitter laugh, loud enough that several riders turned to look. "Unbelievable." Evelyn's jaw tightened. "Her name is Ashley Ann. She's my best friend. She was a bridesmaid at our wedding. She stood beside you the entire day." Adrian's throat tightened. He didn't remember, because he hadn't cared to. Evelyn continued, voice calm but cutting. 8 years. You never cared enough to learn the faces of the people who loved me." Ashley clapped once, hard, mocking. "Ev, you're cooler than you were on the bike." Adrian's face went darker, the air around him lowering like pressure before a thunderclap. This is my family matter. Don't interfere. Evelyn stepped in front of Ashley. No, let her speak. She's earned that right. Then she turned back to Adrian, folding her arms, leaning casually against her motorcycle like she owned the world. I know why you're here, Evelyn said. You want to explain. You want to tell me Serena is nothing, that I'm overthinking, that I should stop being unreasonable, go home, and keep playing the role. The perfect wife. The perfect daughter-in-law. The perfect mother who does all the work quietly, so you can keep feeling in control. Her mouth curled slightly. Not a smile. A warning. But why should I? Adrian swallowed his irritation and tried to pull the conversation into order. Evelyn, even if you changed your name, you are still my wife. Still Leo's mother. You can't cut that bond. She looked at him like he was slow. Mr. Feng, she said, the sarcasm soft and lethal. The Feng family can afford doctors, right? If your ears or comprehension are broken, please go get them checked. And before he could touch her, she put her helmet back on, mounted the bike, and took Ashley with her into a cloud of dust. Adrian stood frozen until the reality hit him. He ran to his black Rolls-Royce, started it, and chased. On Highway 103, Evelyn's bike tore forward, Adrian's car close behind. Ashley looked back through the mirror and shouted into Evelyn's ear. He's still tailing us, shake him. Evelyn accelerated, then drifted perfectly into a side road, smooth, controlled, like she'd been doing it her whole life. Dust exploded, blinding Adrian. By the time it cleared, the road ahead was empty. Adrian slammed his fist into the steering wheel. He had never known her. Not once. And now, he realized, the woman he married had been acting for 8 years, shrinking herself into something safe enough to be accepted. He tracked her again through his assistant. Another location. A park. Evelyn parked, shrugged off her riding jacket, and walked toward a bench. The afternoon light warmed her skin, her shoulders loose, like she'd finally stopped holding her breath. Then a hand shot out from behind and grabbed her wrist. Adrian's voice. Evelyn, no outsiders now. Can we talk properly? She tried to yank free. He held on. I won't let go, he said, serious, almost desperate. Unless you listen. Evelyn's eyes flashed with disgust. Then she nodded once, sharp. Fine. Talk. I want to hear what you think you can say. He released her. And they sat. Adrian stared at her like he was trying to memorize a face he'd ignored for years. Evelyn rubbed her wrist, red from his grip. Say it fast. I have plans. He cleared his throat, choosing words like legal arguments. The will. I'm sorry. I decided without consulting you. Serena has no husband, no children. She was important to me once. I didn't want her to have nothing when she's old. That's why I left her a guarantee. Evelyn's expression didn't change. Adrian continued, gaining confidence in his own logic. You and I have Leo. The Feng and Wen assets will go to him. You'll never lack support. But if you care, I can revise it. I'll make sure your share is secured. Properly notarized. Your rights protected. Is that acceptable? For the first time, Evelyn actually laughed quiet. Incredulous. Do you hear yourself? She said. If you truly intended to respect me, you wouldn't be asking permission like it's a favor. You'd do it and put it in front of me. You're not negotiating. You're performing. Adrian's face tightened. Evelyn leaned in slightly, eyes cold. You want me to be grateful. You want me to cry because you finally showed me mercy. You want me to return to being useful. She paused, then delivered the next line like a blade to the ribs. And don't ever tell me my future depends on Leo. That's hilarious. Adrian's voice dropped. He's your son. You carried him for 10 months. How can you talk about him like that? Evelyn's gaze sharpened. I'm wrong? She exhaled slowly. Your son calls Serena Mum with a smile. He brings her flowers. He asks me to leave the house longer so you two don't need excuses. He looks at me like I'm an inconvenience when I try to correct him. Her voice stayed calm, but every word landed like a verdict. Tell me, Adrian, how exactly does that boy become my support in old age? Before Adrian could answer, a small voice cried out from the path. Mum! Leo ran toward them, clutching a bouquet of baby's breath, face bright and hopeful, as if flowers could glue broken things back together. Mum, for you! Evelyn didn't reach for him. She didn't open her arms. She simply set the bouquet aside gently and said, flat, thank you. Then even flatter. But, I don't like baby's breath. Don't buy it again. Leo's smile shattered, and right then, Serena arrived graceful, controlled, stepping into the moment like she belonged there. Mrs. Feng, Serena said softly, reproach in her eyes. He's a child. Even if you don't like it, you shouldn't say it like that. He'll be sad. Adrian stood up instantly, blocking Serena's line of sight. Didn't I tell you to stay at the hotel? Why did you bring him here? Serena's expression stayed gentle. Leo insisted. I thought it might help. We're family. We should clear misunderstandings. Then Serena turned to Evelyn and extended her hand, smile perfect. Hello. I'm Serena Z, Adrian's friend and Leo's godmother. Evelyn rose, took Serena's hand briefly, and released it, as if it burned. Hello, she said. I'm Evelyn Xu, not Mrs. Feng, not anyone's wife, not anyone's mother. Don't call me wrong again. Adrian's brow furrowed. 8 years ago? What are you talking about? Serena's smile deepened. You still don't know? Evelyn cut in, steady. I've followed her for 8 years. So yes, everything between you two, I know. Adrian's pupils tightened. He had assumed Evelyn discovered the will accidentally, through a social media post. He hadn't realized she knew it all and still stayed. Until she couldn't. Evelyn looked at him with a calm that scared him more than anger ever could. If I hadn't seen that will with my own eyes, she said, I might have endured this marriage for the rest of my life. Then she tilted her head, almost thoughtful. So I should thank you. Adrian's breath caught. Thank you, Evelyn said clearly, for pushing me hard enough to end the wrong life. Thank you for forcing me back into myself. Leo began crying, and the sound yanked Adrian's heart into panic. Leo rushed forward, fists tiny, hitting Evelyn's legs and waist over and over. You're bad. You can't say that. You can't leave me. Evelyn looked down at him, and something flickered pain, fast and sharp, like a needle under the skin. But her face stayed cold. She peeled his hands off her. Leo, she said. Did you forget? You were the first one who said you didn't need me. Leo froze, tears clinging to his lashes, mouth open but no sound coming out. Serena swept in, hugging him tight, glaring at Evelyn like Evelyn was the villain in a story Serena had already rehearsed. Evelyn, Serena said, voice trembling with righteous sorrow. You raised him. He's crying like this, and you feel nothing? How can you be so cruel? Evelyn's lips curved faintly. Cruel. Her eyes slid to Serena cool, almost amused. Didn't you once say you dreamed of marrying Adrian, of having a child of your own? Serena's breath hitched. Evelyn's voice stayed soft. Your dream came true. Here, take the man and the child. Live well as a family of 3. Then she turned and walked away toward her motorcycle. Leo screamed after her, terror finally real. Mom, don't go. Evelyn didn't turn back. Adrian told Serena sharply. Hold him. Don't let him run. And he ran after Evelyn. She was already lifting her helmet when he blocked her path again. Evelyn, he said, voice rough. I admit you suffered. I admit I was wrong. But we're a family. If there's a problem, we solve it together. Why are you so absolute? He swallowed, then tried the last weapon he had. Leo, he's your son. You really can leave him. Evelyn set the helmet down and looked him straight in the eye. Why can't I? She asked quietly. He has plenty of people to spoil him. He'll live well without me. Her gaze sharpened. And didn't he say his godmother was better than me? I'm simply giving him what he wanted. Adrian's voice trembled, rare, real. I told you, Serena and I are nothing. Evelyn cut him off, tired. Why are you explaining so much? You don't love me. I'm letting go. Ending this with dignity is the kindest thing I can do for all of us. Adrian stood there, helpless, not understanding his own urgency. When he finally spoke, it came out raw and honest. I can't describe what I feel, he said. But I know one thing. I never wanted to lose you. I'll go back. I'll fix everything. Then I'll come find you. He looked at her one last time, deep, like he was trying to carve her into memory. Then he turned and walked away. Evelyn didn't care about his promise. She rode straight to Julian. Months passed. Adrian returned to Shanghai with Leo and Serena, orbiting their lives like a shadow they pretended wasn't there. Leo grew quieter. Adrian grew colder. Half a year later, Adrian finally admitted the truth to himself. His life without Evelyn tasted like food without salt, still edible, but empty. His friend Carter Cheng poured him a drink one night and said, You're still confused? Adrian didn't answer. Carter pressed, Do you still love Serena? Adrian's hand paused over the glass. I don't know. Carter snatched the drink away. Then figure it out. Tomorrow, take Serena out like the old days. See if your heart moves. If it does, stop chasing Evelyn. If it doesn't, go beg. Drop the pride. The next day, Adrian did it. Fishing, hiking, fireworks, memories reconstructed like a stage set. Serena's smile grew brighter with every hour. In the car outside her building that night, she finally couldn't hold it in, and said at the same time he spoke, Adrian, let's start again. Serena, Adrian said, steady. I don't love you anymore. Her face emptied. What did you say? Adrian exhaled, and for the first time in months, the weight in his chest lifted. I used you, he admitted. I needed to confirm my heart, and now I have. The person I love is Evelyn. Serena stared at him as if he'd slapped her. I'll transfer you enough money to live comfortably, Adrian continued, cruel in his honesty now. This car is yours. Consider it compensation for today. Then he got out. He didn't look back. He went to find Evelyn. And he found her. In a church. Wearing white. Her hand in Julian Fu's. Adrian stopped breathing. Leo tried to scream, Mum! But a bodyguard covered his mouth and pulled him back. Adrian himself was escorted out like a stranger. Outside the church doors, Leo sobbed until he shook. Dad, why didn't we come earlier? Mum married someone else. Mum really doesn't want me anymore. When the doors opened again, Evelyn stepped out in her wedding dress, calm, radiant, untouched by their devastation. Julian leaned down, murmured something against her ear, then walked away with his security. Adrian seized Evelyn's hand, like a drowning man grabbing air. Evelyn, he pleaded. I'm sure now. I love you. Serena was my unwillingness to let go. Start over with me. I'll love you properly. Leo clung to her waist, crying. Mom, I'm sorry. I won't give you flowers you don't like anymore. I'll give you the ones you love. Come home with us. Evelyn gently removed their hands as if they were simply mistaken. I told you already, she said. I won't go back. Her eyes were steady. Julian and I registered our marriage in Germany. There's nothing between us now. Take your son home. Don't come looking for me again. Then she lifted her skirt and walked away. Adrian and Leo tried to follow, bodyguards blocked them. And in that moment, both father and son understood the simplest truth. They had lost her. Completely. Years rolled forward like weather. Serena died a decade later from a hereditary illness. Alone enough that the hospital called her emergency contact, Adrian. He handled the funeral with the same controlled efficiency he used to handle cases. After it was over, he brought Leo to Los Angeles one more time. 10 years changed all of them. They sat in a cafe for an entire afternoon, speaking calmly like people discussing an old dream. Leo smiled rare, genuine, showing Evelyn videos from competitions, talking about school, saying he was preparing to study in Los Angeles. Evelyn listened, nodded once. Not bad. Adrian spoke quietly about family things, then said, "If you have time, come back and visit. My mother isn't well. She regrets the past. She wants to apologize in person." Evelyn's expression didn't shift. She sipped her coffee and said simply, "Okay, I will." At sunset, Julian arrived to pick her up. Evelyn stood, slipped her arm through his, and waved goodbye. As she turned away, Adrian called softly, "Evelyn, are you happy now?" She turned back, the evening light wrapping her in gold. She nodded without hesitation. "Of course. I'm very happy." Then she turned again, walked away with Julian Fu, and didn't look back. Adrian Feng stood still, watching her disappear into the crowd, and whispered like a prayer he didn't deserve to be answered. "Evelyn, I wish you happiness. Forever."